Hello everybody and welcome to the Coffee Run Live. Super excited to host you this morning, and what I wanted to really speak with you guys about today is operating from a place of peak performance. So it's Tuesday, otherwise known as Choose Your Choice Day, where you get to choose exactly how it is that you want to be. And I guess some of the things that I've thought about, hey Jess, over the time have been things along the lines of things that people have said to me, right? So people often, and I remember chatting to a therapist about this actually, it's like, Nicola, I don't know how anybody is possibly going to keep up with you and this, that, and the other. And, you know, you run a mile a minute and you don't seem to stop and rah, rah, rah. And it's like, well, in one way I was kind of like, I don't quite know how to take that. And in the other way, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I totally get it. But I suppose for me, this is how I'm wired. But something that it's taught me over the years is how to operate from a place of peak performance. Because there are still times, you know, that hashtag I'm human, apparently, where I will not be operating in a peak performance state. And I can really almost like play up to the line of burnout. And that's really unhelpful. You know, if we think about it, super unhelpful to be working really hard, really fast, constantly and consistently, because it's not usually something that we can maintain at that super high level. Something else though that really comes up, and I suppose again from a peak performance perspective and even just from a mindset perspective, is that most or many people are operating from a place of fear. Now, I don't know if this sounds like something that you have noticed for yourself, but I know for me, there have been times where I'm like, shit, I've really got to market myself. I've got to go and splatter everything all over the internet. I've got to work really fucking hard. I've got to keep going, because the assumption there is that I'm not going to make any money, that I'm not going to see anybody, that, you know, no one's going to buy, that I'm not going to be able to help anyone, that the whole business is going to fall over, you know, all of this kind of thing. And that used to be hey, Angela, that used to be a really kind of a big, like imagine like the fire burning. That fear for me was like a big log that would get thrown on the fire and then stoke that furnace. Now, we know that you go and throw a log on the fire and it's going to create a larger fire. But if we're just putting things on there that aren't going to like create that really hot heat, and you know, I'm thinking like in a fireplace, right? Like in winter, like in a fireplace. You put a big log on and it can go and then do all that thing, but it's not until it kind of settles down and that the coals are burning that the real heat and the real energy then seems to come and is sustainable, right? You can have your big burst, but that fear is like the big burst. The thing that will keep you moving through, hey Chrissy, good to see you. The thing that will keep you moving, the thing that will keep you showing up, the thing that will keep you being visible, the thing that will keep you consistent is by just saying, you know, I know that those embers are there, that the coal is there, and you've got to keep showing up consistently and regularly, but we've got to eradicate the fear. Now, a lot of fear comes from worrying about the outcome. Right, so worrying about the outcome is, what if I don't make any sales? What if nobody buys? What if nobody likes, watches, listens, shares, comments, interacts, opens my emails? What if nobody even sees me anyway? What if I go and put on this event and no one buys? I'm going to look like an idiot. All of this thing, like where we really end up when we're thinking about all of that, we're living in the future versus living in the present. Right? So a way that we can eradicate fear is going, all right, well, you know what? Come what may. And if you believe firmly that everything happens for your highest good in terms of business and things like that, then you can go, all right, well, I've got this potential outcome and I've got this potential outcome. I've got this potential outcome. You know, there are a billion, probably to the power of a billion, permutations and various different types of results that you might get. But what we tend to latch onto is the negative one versus one of the other positives. So we've got to let the fear go. Because fear when it comes to your marketing, fear when it comes to your visibility, fear when it comes to you putting yourself out there, fear when it comes to you putting out your message, fear when it comes to sales, fear when it comes to trying something different. All of those things, if you are going through and marketing from a place like that, that stuff leaches in to everything that you do. Now, I remember years ago where, so there's been a couple of really important, almost kind of like bookmarked times in my past, historically, where I've been really kind of stuck. Right? And like stuck either going like, I've got no fucking money and I have to make sales. And I would do sales calls upon sales calls upon sales calls. And, it was really hard at the time, like way back then, like right at the very start. So 2010, I was on the phone a lot. And I was absolutely hung up on the outcome. I was like, if I don't make fucking money, I'm going to have to go and get a job. Like there is a fiscal reality here. And it wasn't until I almost literally drew the line in the sand, and I've gone, because there was no sand because we live in Mildura, so the line in the dirt, right, where I've gone, okay, here it is, God, universe, source, whatever. For me at that point in time, it was like, give me a sign, universe, give me a fucking sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I can't keep doing shit like this. I can't keep operating from this place of fear and worry and stress and overwhelm and, grinding day in, day out, hustle. And I was like, I can't fucking do it like that. So give me a fucking sign. Like, how am I supposed to do this? If this is what I'm here to do, show me the way and let's fucking do this or not. So the line in the sand was drawn. And at that point I've gone, okay, you know what? The potential outcomes are, like, as we talked about, like $1 billion to the power of $1 billion. And so for me, it was like, all right, if this is what I'm supposed to do, something amazing will happen. If this is not what I'm supposed to do, then that's fine. I'll go back and, I'll go and find a job. I'll go get a job. I'll go crawling back to the bank and beg for my job back, not my dog back, beg for my job back. I could go and do something else, but it was literally like, throw me a fucking bone, because this is slowly killing me. Fear will slowly kill you. It kills your creativity. It kills your vibe. It kills your flow. It kills absolutely everything. And not only all of that from a mental perspective, it kills your freaking adrenal glands. So not only do you end up in this kind of like emotional burnout, you end up in a literal physical burnout as well, because your body is pumping out cortisol like the bank is printing money, right? Like the treasury is printing money. It's not a sustainable way of doing it. So we've got to remove the importance of the outcome, but the attachment to the outcome, and we've got to be okay with whatever happens. And I know for me, when I finally threw my hands in the air, I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. That was almost to the, within 3 weeks, everything had turned around. I had my first $30,000 month. Things were working. I launched out this new marketing campaign at the time that I had this cool idea for. And it was like, okay, you know what? This will either work or it won't, but I'm going to throw everything that I've got at it. The same thing happened about 18 months ago. And like, I'm going to do this my way. And if my way doesn't work, all right, I hear you, I'm done. Like, that's it, that's fine. It was like 18 months ago, guys, and I've made millions of dollars online. Millions of dollars online. I've helped so many thousands of people for free and paid. And it's still, for me, it had gotten to the point where I wasn't loving what it was that I was doing. And I guess the outcome for me that I was super hung up on was, I really want this to fucking work. It was almost like my will, like that drive was, amplified. It was like there was just logs continuously going on the freaking fire versus allowing those coals and embers to kind of solidify and do their thing, and more of a slow burn than a fierce hot burn. I remember being in Vegas a couple, maybe about 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was in Vegas, and I was there for work, and a friend of mine was in the room with me, and she does a lot of energy work, and she said that your will comes from, from here. It's like, right? So you've got your third eye chakra, and that kind of can, it emits an energy, for want of a better way of explaining it. And she's like, she measured this for me, and she's like, whoa, like she had to get all the way back there. She said, your will is so strong. My eye had not stopped watering. It was just like my whole head had just kind of like gone, because I was just like, this is what, like, it's, that one-eyed, when they talk about being one-eyed and you just have to do that thing. It's like that fierce force of will to make it happen and make it work and do the things and the stuff. And it just, all of that wasn't from a place at that time. It wasn't from a place of fear that things wouldn't work or that they wouldn't continue. It was more a fear that if I stopped doing what I was doing to do more of what I was really intensely passionate about doing, which is about visibility, helping you guys with confidence, giving you some structure and some strategies so that you can then get into flow and get out there and help thousands of people around the world, make millions of dollars so that you can then go and do more good in the world. That's what I'm here to do, not teach. This is the mechanics of how you build out a funnel, right? These are the, click here and click here. That's not my genius. That's not my zone of genius. I mastered it. I'm very fucking good at it. But it was not what I wanted to be teaching day in, day out, or helping people from a place of mentoring and things like that. It's not how I wanted to bring people in. These days, I'll do it with clients, but not so much. It's not the reason that they come in and buy from me. So for me, it was just kind of like this will, this determination was more around, all right, I've got to do this so that I can really do the work, really live my purpose, really live, my mission, my passion, the thing that I really, really want to do. And I guess, even though that might sound like it was resourceful, obviously it wasn't resourceful, because I was still really hung up on the outcome of trying to get there, trying to do the thing. And so, like I said, about 18 months ago, lying in the sand or the red dirt, because we've got so much fucking red dirt up here, it's insane. Lying in the red dirt, just going, okay, guys, God, universe, fucking angels, whoever is on my spiritual team up there, here, wherever it is that you are, we've got to do this in a different way because I'm fucking done. I would rather, if this is not what I'm supposed to be doing in the way that I want to do it, and this really came from a place of, just really kind of flicking the switch, right? It's just that's it. I'm done now. If I'm supposed to be doing this stuff that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, then I need a fucking leg up, right? Give me a boost, because otherwise that's fine. I will go and renovate houses, and I will somehow do what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, and maybe in a different way. I don't know. I can't see me not ever doing this. But it was just radio team, let's get on board. Where's my hustle squad? Let's fucking make this work. Or not. I gave myself 3 months, you guys. It was a literal line, not a literal line. It was like a literal ultimatum, right? Almost like a spiritual ultimatum that didn't come from a place of fear, because I was no longer afraid of failing. I was no longer afraid of going, oh, well, how am I going to look if I've been in business for all of this time and I made millions of dollars and thousands of people, 23,500 people following me, copious amounts of thousands of people on an email list. What does that mean? What about my pride? My ego, all of this bullshit. When really at the end of the day, to me, the thing that only really matters and the thing that will make it all work is you've got to do the thing that you're here to do. You've got to show up. You've got to be you. You've got to lead from that place, because otherwise you're selling yourself short. You're selling your audience short, and nothing really works. Even when I am short, because I'm very short. Big in personality, very short in height. So, hey, Joe. Chrissy, do we believe in vision boards? Yeah, I do, actually. I've kept my vision boards over the years, and it's really interesting. Hey, Andrew. it's really interesting to look back actually at my old vision boards and see what I've got in there. And it's just like, yeah, bang, bang, that's happened. I'm also more of a believer and an advocate more for writing in what you want to bring into this world. So for instance, I've written out a lot in the past what an ideal day looks like for me, right? So writing that out. I think the more vision boards are great if you're visual, or if you want something nice to look at. But I think when we're writing, we can get so much more detail in it. We can create the feeling. We can smell things as we're writing. We can taste things as we're writing. We can really immerse ourselves in that vision. That's more what I advocate for versus actually building a vision board. So we know that you need to be visible, right? We've got all of these fears that are swirling around, the biggest one of all being the fear of failure, not being good enough, not being liked, not being loved, not fitting in, and all of that stuff, like the fear of judgment, all that sort of stuff. We need to admit that all of that is ego-based stuff and absolute total bullshit, because there are a bunch of people that will love you and there's a bunch of people that won't like you, right? You've just got to look at what's going on with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at the moment, where there's like, there's such a division. It's like Team Queen or Team Harry, Team Meghan, right? And so there's like all of this. So like some people, you could be the nicest apparent, I don't know them personally, but they're apparently the nicest people on the face of the planet, doing all the right things, and you can still be slammed and slagged either to your face or behind your back. Right? You can't stop the slaggers. They will do whatever the fuck it is that they want to do, and that's just the reality of it. So the fear of all of that stuff when it comes to you being visible, you've just got to kind of go, yeah, okay, that may or may not happen. It doesn't matter if it does or it doesn't. It's not going to impact who you are. It's not going to impact how you turn up and what you do. And the way to do that, guys, is to decide. That's it. It's like flicking a freaking switch, right? You've got to get to that point, and hopefully you're not in so much pain or so much frustration or in so much fear that you're kind of paralyzed. I would really encourage you to make this decision, this really powerful choice and this powerful decision, before it kind of gets so bad that you feel like you do the ultimatum, right? We don't want to always do the universal ultimatum. You can do it if you want, but I think, we usually do that when we're in a world of pain. So rather than doing that, decide right now, flick that switch right now and go, okay, this is who I am. It's Tuesday, right? So we choose how we're going to show up. We choose the energy that we're going to tap into, and we fucking bring it. And you've got to do that every day. Right? It's not just a once a day thing. It's not just like a once a year thing or a once every 6 months thing. It's a daily thing. I was reading an article written by the designer of Beyonce's 2013 Super Bowl costume. I was looking for some photos because as you guys know, I'm running a program called Who Runs the World starting next week. It's really freaking awesome. If you are not in it, how's that for a perfect freaking segue? Just saying. I put that in there. So I was researching some stuff because I was actually looking at I was looking for the clip, that photo of Beyonce at the more recent Super Bowl, which I think was the 2017 or 2018. I think there was the Formation song that she sang, and her costume was freaking amazing. And so I was Googling Beyonce Super Bowl, and I stumbled across an article by her designer from the 2013 one that she wore. And he was talking about how she was showing up professional, analyzing everything, but she was like high vibe, high energy, made that choice to show up and do the thing every single day without complaining, without anything, just ironing out all of the kinks and doing her job every single day. And that's really what we need to do. If you want to build visibility, if you want to be seen, if you want to be heard, if you want to be followed, if you want people to be magnetized and attracted to you, not just because of your content, but because of who you are, then you've got to be willing to make that choice every freaking day. Otherwise, they will, like, they'll come for the content, they'll be really happy with that, but then they'll go and buy from someone else, right? It's like, it's like being a sample person in a supermarket, and you're handing out the samples, and then the person realizes that they're hungry, and so they go and buy from the competitors because, they don't want, your brand or whatever. If there's no story, if there's no buy-in, if there's no conversation, if there's no connection, they'll go and do something else. So there you go, my friends. That is how you can get over this kind of feeling of having a decreased energy. Now, decreased energy, as we've said, generally comes from fear, worrying about the outcome, and really kind of being hung up on what will happen and how you're going to benefit from your action and from your doing something. So my advice for you today is to stop all of that, make the decision, line in the sand, literal, metaphoric. If you've got red dirt, use red dirt, doesn't really matter. Line in the sand, ask for the sign if you really need it, but most of all, you've got to get into action. You have to show up every day and come hell or high water, be totally committed to being you, because you are fucking amazing. Your people need you. You are needed in this world. We need your type of magic. We need your type of genius. We need you helping the people that really need your help. So I'm going to set you free about your day. I have put a link in there for Who Runs the World, which is we're going to be going deeper into all of this in that program starting next week. It's $147 or $247 if you want to go VIP. So jump in there. Meanwhile, get out there, go help some people, have a whole shit ton of fun of doing it. Be you first and foremost. Flick that switch and remember the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. If I don't talk to you before, I will speak to you tomorrow. Mwah! Goodbye.